morning, I'm David Smalley with Elves and Angels. We're going to do a assembly video of Sylvie's Kitchen Deluxe, and we'll get started here. I'll quickly show you some of the parts. These are sides, as with all Elves and Angels products, so that they are easy to assemble in the field. We've created these tracks that the different parts fit into. You don't have to be trying to figure out where they go. We'll show you where they go in this video, and that locks the whole product together. It makes it much sturdier than just screwing a drywall screw into it. It's locked in from both sides, so it's a good feature. All of our products are made that way since we went to a flat pack around 6 or 8 years ago. Cooktop, hutch shelves, excuse me, top scroll, another groove that one of the hutch shelves is going into. This is the bottom shelf. Has a groove that this partition here slides into like this, and then 2 grooves on the sides that the shelves go into. So rear connector, door frame, and then I'll show you the backs when we put them in. So we'll get started here. We're going to take a side. It might be helpful for you, if you're by yourself. If you have, I've used a little piece of 1/4-inch plywood to hold up the other end of this. Well, I'm going to screw this in. You're going to put this cooktop into the groove. Now, where you want to line this up is line it up along the inside of this track here. Okay, just line that right up there until it's even, and that'll give you the best fit. Okay, and don't worry about the front. We have to leave a little bit of leeway there because of contraction and expansion. So don't worry where the front lands. You want that to be as good as you can get it. I have a hard time. My eyes don't work as well as they used to. In any of the kitchens and things, you can close up this line quite well by just pushing on the back of it before you screw in. Some are going to just be absolutely perfect. Some might have a little bit of a curl in it or whatever, but I'm just telling you, put a little pressure down on the side, push up on the underneath of the cooktop, and you can close the gap quite nicely. So there's 2 screws on that side. Excuse me, a terrible cold. And then there's 2 over here. You're going to do exactly the same thing over there. I'm going to use a screw gun in this because it does save time in the video, and people don't have lots of time to waste watching our videos. Same thing here. You push up on that, you can close that gap if there is one. Most of the time there's not, but sometimes there is. Okay, so we have the cooktop onto the sides. Yeah, flip this over like this, and then we're going to take our door frame, which is this. This comes to you just the way that you're seeing it here. And then we're going to go like this. Again, the grooves, they're on all Elves and Angels products. Hold this together here so that it doesn't spread out like that and this thing drops off. Either that or have a helper. Just take your tummy and push against that. You're holding this in. Push it up like this, or someone else can do it for you. And evenly. So like that there. Don't let that drop out. That's why I was telling you to hold it together down here. Okay, so your door frame, there are 3 screws on either side. To save time in the video, I'm going to only put 1 on either side. Push that all the way up until it's tight here. I'll put the bottom screw in like that, and you'll see that'll snug those sides into that door frame. You can hear it lock in. That's the other thing that creates its sturdiness. I'm going to be in your way here just for a minute. Okay. Now, I'll show you what Sylvie's Kitchen Deluxe looks like at this point. This would be a good time to put in your faucet. There are 3 pre-drilled holes here. Simply take your faucet like this. You'll see there's a screw. Screw it down all the way, and then take a Phillips screwdriver, and after it's screwed down all the way until it's snug, take the screwdriver and back off on the screw. What I mean by backing off is go counterclockwise about 1/4 of a turn until this spins freely. Okay, that's what you want to do. You're also going to have 2 knobs there, which are your faucet knobs, like that. And you're going to put 2 screws in there. Snug it down, and then take your Phillips screwdriver and back it off 1/4 of a turn, or whatever makes it spin freely. And then those would be on. At the same time, you'll see there are 5 holes here, pre-drilled holes here. You're going to do the same thing with the knobs on the front of the kitchen. You're going to screw them down tight and then back it off 1/4 of a turn until these knobs spin freely. Okay. Now, get carefully down on the front of the kitchen. You're going to take your hutch shelves. There's one. Whoops. Try to do those evenly so that they just drop right in there. Yes. Whoops. Also, this here, that track in the back of the sides, it's a 1/4 inch track. It's actually to slide the Baltic birch plywood back up with. We use Baltic birch not to cut a corner with pine, but so that the flat pack works. We feel very good about the flat pack, and its positive effects on the environment are second to none, and that's why we do it. It's much easier to actually ship out an assembled product, I can tell you, but it's hard to get them from one place to the next without damage a lot of times also. Alright, at this point, before you tighten this down too tight, it may be a good time to put in the top scroll. Alright, the top scroll, this is good here. These are cut the correct length. But if you know anything about woodworking, you'll see, alright, even though that's the same length as the opening, it looks like it doesn't fit. But it does. You just back off, like I said before, on that screw. You see, that wouldn't drop in there before. As soon as I backed off the screw, that dropped down in. Now you're going to tighten these screws in tight. And that groove that's on the front of this locks in that shelf there. Get the screw there. Okay, and then we're going to tighten this. You have 2 more screws here that go into the top scroll itself. So remember that thing I showed you on the side here with the top scroll. Many people reorder our products, buy dollhouses, so on and so forth. This thing of thinking that, oh, maybe that's not the right size. That's not true. It's just that you can't, even if you have the same size opening, same size piece, a woodworker would tell you it doesn't necessarily just drop right down in. You spread that out and then bring it in tight again, and then that piece fits perfectly. Excuse me. All right, we're going to go to our next hutch shelf here. Actually, the same thing with this. If I hadn't, for the video, tightened that all the way down, that also would work the same way. It would just drop in there. If I backed off any of those screws, either this one that goes into the cooktop or this, excuse me, that would drop down in. Again, line it up with the interior, the inside of the 1/4-inch track. It's very important because you want to be able to slide your back in. It's not that hard to do. One screw on either side of this, that. Again, if you're putting in shelves and so on and so forth, if you see a gap, excuse me, along there, don't put in your screw, pull up from the bottom towards the top, excuse me, it'll close that gap for you, and then put your screw in. And that would be something we would do ourselves if we were assembling it, but since we're not, we need to show you how to come out with the very best job you can possibly get. That's one of the ways to do it. Now we're going to put in the top back. That's going to slide up in the tracks that I keep mentioning. I keep mentioning to line up the cooktop, the shelves, and everything with the inside of this track. And the reason being is so that this slides up, and in the bottom of the top scroll there's also a track. This is going to slide into this and lock into that. You can see like this. If it should be a little tight, so on and so forth. We didn't make a mistake. It's just that it's swollen. One of the pieces of wood is swollen. That's usually not the case at all. I'm just warning you so that you don't get all flustered and just think, oh my goodness sakes, they give me the wrong back for this or something. It's not usually the case. I'm not saying we don't make mistakes, because we do. But we definitely try to keep them to a minimum. Okay, so I'm in there. Now we're going to install the rear connector, I believe. It has a groove here, and on the bottom it has a groove. This groove locks into the upper back. The other groove is going to lock into the lower back. Okay. And here again, don't imagine that they've cut this wrong. You see this right here? That is the right length, but it was like that. It's because it's on an angle. So I can either try to pull it out a little bit like I just did, or I can back off the screw. One or the other. Like this. Show you what I mean. Like that. It's good to be able to show you these little tips so that it goes as well as it possibly can for you. It's really not hard. You just need some help along the way. So. All right, now we're going to put these two screws in for the rear connector. That. Here's one. Right here. Okay. Now, I think I'm going to pick this up, and I'll probably be in your way a little bit. That's probably the best way to do it. I'm going to put in the interior parts. You'll see this is for the bottom shelf, this is for the middle shelves, and when I put in the bottom shelf, you'll see it has a track. That's for the partition. This is what it looks like from the rear. Okay, and like I said, this is Carb 2 certified plywood. It's not a cheap plywood. It's the best cabinet grade plywood, and we're not trying to get away with anything. It's just nearly impossible to make this product and ship it flat pack without using the Baltic birch. I'm sorry. We try to make the most natural and safe product on the market. There are some things though that you just have to do. That's one of them for Elves and Angels. Okay. Again, you want to line this up with inside edge of that track. Okay. takes one screw here. You don't need tons of screws with the flat pack because it actually creates, it holds it by itself because of the grooves. So here's another one here. Okay. And then we're going to put in our partition, and you'll see on the rear of it, there's a rounded edge first that goes towards the front. This is the middle partition, and it has a T. It's going to have a T marked on the back of it. That's what we're saying is that's the top. This goes in like this if it's going to fit properly. I don't know whether I should have put the, there we go. You can do it like that. This here. Okay. And then rounded edge of this goes here. Oops. And the rounded edge goes towards the front. That. Those are going to get one screw on either side, and then there's one in the bottom that holds the middle partition in. You can see right there. This. And you can see that this partition here is below that groove there. If, for instance, it was not, loosen your screw here, lift this up just a little bit, and it'll fit right in there. We're down to the final part here. It's the lower back. Again, Baltic birch. You'll see there's two pre-drilled holes here. You're going to screw those into this bottom shelf like this. Again, the 1/4" screw slides up there like that. Sometimes you may have to, this may be bowed up a little bit here or something because of the moisture or whatever. Just tap it up. If you have to push down on that, it'll go right in. Then you have two silver screws right here. They go in these two pre-drilled holes on the back of the kitchen. And I'm going to try to lift it up here and show you what looking like right now. That is Sylvie's Deluxe. I already showed you how to put the knobs on and the faucets. Then you have the metal bowl like this. Sylvie's Deluxe, all of our Deluxe kitchens, great play value. Children love doors, opening and closing them. The final thing that you do with almost all of our products is put in the wooden plugs. You take a dab of Elmer's glue, whatever glue you have, squeeze it, put it on the inside edge of that, and drop your plug in here. I have to tell you these, okay, with hardwood plugs, with pine, with any type of live wood, they can be greatly affected sometimes by moisture, both expansion and contraction. Those plugs can either go in there nice and easy like that, and then you just, after you've glued them, but always glue them, tap those in until they're flush. Until they're in all the way, I'm sorry. So do that on the whole kitchen, but always use glue. Let me see. I will tell you one thing that we did learn one time. We sent some to Alaska, and the humidity was such that they never could get the plugs in. I mean, we don't send out different size plugs. They're always 3/8 of an inch hole, 3/8 of an inch plug. But like I say, they will be affected. If they're really, really tight, we found that you could put them in a little plastic baggie, put them in your freezer for about an hour. It will contract them and they'll probably drop right in. Most of the time, this could be a little harder. Just get it into the opening. Okay, just get it in like that and then tap it in. It's really not as big of a deal that I'm making out of it. It's just I'd like you to be prepared if you run into this, that you know that it's not something that we've made a mistake or you need to call us. It's just what it is, what is live. Anyways, I think that's about it. As with all of our products, they all come with a lifetime guarantee with no fine print. What I'm saying is all of our products are guaranteed for life. That's what we've made for 30 years. As long as we're still going, we will be making the same product. Please contact us if you have any problem whatsoever. We're very easy to deal with, and we will fix it immediately. It doesn't matter what it is. We're not going to argue with you. We make what we feel like is the best product out there, and we definitely stand behind it. And we also very much appreciate you buying Elves and Angels products for the last 30 years.